Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. What a pleasure to be here today. My name is Alisa Cohn. I write for Forbes, and I am the author of a book called From Startup to Grown Up. Today, we're going to be talking about the big landscape of digital transformation, especially as it relates to the world of consumers. So I'm so excited to have this esteemed panel today. Vittorio, I'm going to start with you. We've been talking about digital transformation for decades. Companies will start digital transformations, and then as soon as they're done, a new generation of digital transformation will appear. What is the state of digital transformation these days, and why is it so important?
Well, for quite a few years, we have been able to use technology and digitization to automate and optimize business processes. We continue to do that, but more recently, digitization offers the opportunity to reinvent business processes, to reinvent the business and the way we get things done. And take, for example, at P&G, the way we use data and AI to constructively disrupt consumer engagement and media communication. So many of our brands have a strong pool of consumers who opt in to get coupons, to get advice, and having those first-party data allow us, by overlaying on top of it algorithmic solution, to create lookalike audiences, and therefore engage consumers with relevant content at the right time, on the right channel, with the right frequency, as opposed to mass advertising. And in the process, obviously, we increase reach, and we do it in a more efficient way. So that is just one of the examples where digital capabilities allows to reinvent the business, to create new business processes, and augment the human capabilities.
Yeah, I love that, because you're talking about reinvention, using the tools and digital elements available to us to now do what's possible. Raji, you've talked about the 3 axes of digital transformation. What do you mean by that? Can you explore those for us?
Yeah. In fact, I've always used a 3-axis sort of framework to digitally transform multiple companies. The first axis, I call it disrupting an industry. And I know that's a broad term, and we'll go into that in a second. The second is how you transform the customer experience, leveraging technology. And the third, again, is how do you drive productivity as well as efficiency using digital capabilities. If you dig into it a little deeper, as you look at disrupting an industry, it is about fundamentally changing paradigms. And if you take an example, the internet is a great example, and the one that I'm personally connected to was a transformation that we did at Amazon when we transformed commerce to e-commerce, as we launched many of the initial stores, as well as we launched the marketplace. I still remember when I was a young girl back in India, you could get about 100 books at the local bookstore, and this was the best bookstore. But today, children around the world can get millions of books in a couple of days. The second is about transforming the customer experience. And this is not just about using technology to make it reliable and convenient. It is also about how you use technology to invent the future, to see and invent the future. For example, at Opendoor, we've used ML as well as AI. In fact, we are one of the pioneers to transform how homes are priced. And if you think about a home, it's one of the most bespoke assets that people have lovingly crafted and changed over time, and we're talking about pricing that. And so we've used a lot of technology to go ahead and actually transform that space and provide customers price transparency. The last, as you look at productivity and efficiency, again, I think about it along the lines of people, how technology really does the mundane stuff so that people can do the more interesting stuff. So it's about job satisfaction. It's also about process. It's about how do you make processes more efficient. Human beings are inherently 3 sigma in terms of the errors we introduce into the system. But what technology has enabled us to do is to deliver flawless transactions, or as we used to call the perfect order promise. And the last is, of course, profits. But then that's about how you lower the cost structure. Yes, the company takes some, but it's also about lowering prices for the customers.
I love that. It's like from optimization to really disruption in so many ways. And I appreciate the layered approach. Vinod, Sam's Club is a membership organization. How are you using digital transformation to really think about and transform your experiences with your members?
Yeah, Alisa, I'm excited to be here. I've been trying to get here for the last 36 hours, so really happy to
We're
make
so
it
glad
in
you
time.
made it, yeah.
If you'll indulge me for a few seconds, I'll give you a broader context. At Walmart and Sam's Club, we are people-led and tech-powered, right? To drive and as an omni-channel retailer to help people save money and live better lives. Over the last few years at Sam's Club particularly, I think we look at Sam's Club as an innovation engine for the broader enterprise. And in the last, I would say 3 to 4 years, we've significantly tried to dive deeper into technology and embed technology into every aspect of our business. And the results are there to see. So we've grown the business up to $84 billion as of last fiscal year and growing. And that's all to say that why transformation is important and why digital transformation is even more important. So if I have to take a specific example of where, how the digital transformation is helping the members, I would say I typically talk about 3 C's, which is the context, the commerce, and now it's the convenience, right? So convenience, I think, is becoming more and more important for our members. So one of the examples is Scan and Go. So this is a convenient feature for our members where they can shop while they're in the club without having to stand in a line. So they can just, scan the barcode, put it in your cart, and get out. How cool is that,
Very
right?
cool.
And there are many more features like that help our members while they're shopping. And that's not just in the club. So equally while they're online, it helps them to decide, hey, do I want to ship it home? Do I want to go pick up at the club or deliver it to home? So these are all channels of convenience that are now available to our members, which I call as the big C, the convenience aspect for our members. So a good example of digital transformation for you there.
I love that. And what all of you are really talking about, and I appreciate this from technology people, is it's not about the technology. It's about what you can do with the technology. Vittorio, that really brings me to you. At P&G, you were sharing with us earlier, when we had a discussion earlier, that you were able to combine digital spaces and physical products, so digital and physical products. Could you share, it's so fascinating to understand that, share some examples of how P&G is doing that and how the reception has been from consumers.
Sure. At P&G, we are obsessed with providing consumers with superior experiences, end-to-end. The packaging, the products, the media engagement, and the shopping experience, and the overall value. Now, we can do that by augmenting, blending, and even embedding the digital and physical dimension. So one example in the baby care category, the diaper size tracker, which helps parents to deal with one of the pain points, choosing the size of the diaper for their babies. And by entering the measurement of the baby in the application, they get an algorithmic-based recommendation on the size so that they can choose the right size and size up timely. Now, what's interesting is there are millions, hundreds of millions of recommendations that are provided, and the data, the measurement data that are collected are used by our innovation team to constantly train the algorithm and refine the precision of the recommendation. So that's one example. Another one in oral care is the Oral IO intelligent toothbrush, which has sensors embedded in the handle and collects a huge amount of data about the brushing sessions. And based on that, there is an algorithm providing coaching real-time and recommendation about coverage, pressure applied, and duration. And here again, all those brushing sessions data that we collect and integrate in our IoT cloud are then used to further train and refine the algorithm that then is deployed to the mobile app that provide guidance. So those are just 2 examples on how embedding the digital and physical dimension translate into a superior experience. But what matters most for the consumer is getting the job done. So having on a mobile app, having a digital dimension per se, doesn't really help unless it translates into a superior experience for them. And when it does, the reception is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, welcome to the future, right? Smart toothbrushes and smart diapers. Who knew you could even innovate a diaper these days? I want to have a follow-up question to could you maybe share about how they have been taken up by consumers? Was it a moment or two to have them understand and accept these innovations, or were they immediately on board, your consumers?
Sorry, the question is?
Were they immediately on board, your consumers? Were the consumers immediately on board?
The media...
Sorry.
The audio is up.
I know, it's too loud. I'll have a follow-up. Raji, let me ask you instead. You've talked about at Opendoor, you're putting the power in the hands of the consumers with digital innovation. Talk about that.
So if you look at Opendoor, our vision is to build the e-commerce platform for residential real estate. So this is where millions of customers choose us to buy, sell, and transition between homes. And we've used technology through every step of the process, and we've digitized that. And the way we've used the technology is to both enable and empower customers, and also to enable and empower the humans in the loop, our operators, to provide the best possible customer experience. But there are many examples on how it's really transformed the customer experience. The one that stands out is how we've transformed the experience for sellers to sell their homes. And for anyone who's bought or sold their home, not just in the US or Canada, but anywhere in the world, it's a very stressful process. You've got to go through multiple months of preparing your home, doing the repairs, having dust all over the place, kids running around, then staging and trying to keep it perfect, and then trying to sell the home. It's like hair pulling. So what we've done here is we brought in technology to digitize every aspect of the process. For example, customers have a very simple and an easy way for them to get a price. Our pricing is instantaneous. The second example is how assessments happen. And if you've ever gone through an assessment process, you're really having someone coming in and assess your home. We've made that entire process virtual. So if you go back and look at the entire puzzle, what Opendoor has done is it's put the control in the hands of the consumer to help drive the process. And this is an industry for over 100 years, consumers have never had control. And that's the beautiful thing about digital transformation. At the end of the day, it is about how you give customers control through the entire process.
Yes. I love that, because really that's where the future is going, more decentralized and more able to really, as you said, put the power in the hands of the customers. It just reminds me of a hot topic these days, AI. I can't believe we've gotten this far without talking about AI. Vinod, how is Sam's Club specifically using AI in your interactions with members and even with your employees?
No, AI is not new for Sam's Club. We have been doing AI for quite some time. Yeah. And what's unique about Sam's Club is that we are a membership company, right? So we know everything about our members, the profile of our members, and equally we are a limited SKU company because we design and curate a very small set of SKUs, so we know everything about your SKUs. So what does AI depend on? AI depends on data, right? And now, if we have this rich data about our members who interact with Sam's Club, whether it's online or in the club, we have a good digital fingerprints of these members, and we know everything about the SKUs. So marry those things together, and with the millions and millions of interactions, we have fantastic data and lots of it. So that allows us to create these great AI models on which we are building to, again, further drive better convenience, a better member experience, and associate experience. So let me take a few examples here. Yeah. So July 4th, right, next week. So if you look at what's big on people's mind for July 4th, firecrackers, apple pies, people are throwing parties, right? So happy hosts, they want to bring people in. So these models then allow us to kind of, specifically help us or prepare the right number of apple pies in the club. You make too many of them, there's waste. You make too few of them, then members are not happy. So how do you actually, optimum way, prepare the number of apple pies. The same thing with the firecrackers. So we have built a computer vision-based scrubber, which has cameras mounted on it, which go around the club a few times every day, which capture millions and millions of images, and we bring these images back, put them in an AI model, and then we're able to tell our associates in the club through their handhelds what's low stock, what's no stock, right? If the price signs have to be changed, or if they're an erroneous price sign. So a member who is walking in knows that we can actually replenish in real time based on what's coming in the back of the club, and really improve the member experience, but also help drive the productivity for our associates in the club. So not only are we improving the member experience, improving the productivity, but be able to make great decisions, whether it's a fresh sales tool, whether it's the Ask Sam, which is the natural language processing based tool in the hands of associates, or personalization for our members, the whole gamut from, I would say, the planning, the buying, the moving and selling. We've democratized AI in Sam's Club, so it's become a part of the DNA of the organization now.
That's amazing, and I appreciate what you're saying. It doesn't just happen overnight for you all,
No.
right? It sort of has been embedded.
Yeah.
Raji, same question for you. How is Opendoor using AI in the work that you all do?
Yeah, again, similar to what Vinod mentioned, Opendoor is a pioneer in the use of AI, and we've been doing it for the real estate space for the last 9 to 10 years. And it's extensive in terms of the usage. But if I were to pick one example, it's about how we've used AI to determine home condition and home pricing. And this literally has enabled us to provide prices to customers instantaneously as well as digitally. And if you go back and look at the entire usage, it's kind of along 3 different steps. The first step is about how do you make man and machine to work well together. And so if you go back and look at what we've built, our data scientists, researchers, and engineers have worked very closely with our pricing analysts to bring in the right data, the models and the systems, and overlay the operations on top of that to instantly determine pricing. And to do this, the ecosystem of models that we've had to build have been pretty extensive. In fact, today we can price homes in markets that we've not yet operated in. That's literally remarkable. If you look at most AI and ML models, you need to have some history to work through it, right? So we've been able to build models that can extrapolate using a whole host of information that's out there. And this is about 100 years of information, both current as well as historical. The second piece of this is it's not just enough to go ahead and build your models. Your information and your analysis and the experience to the customer is as good as your data, garbage in, garbage out. And so what we've done is built the best data set in the home industry and in the real estate space, and we've been crafting it with every transaction. And the last part of it is how do you continuously improve and close the feedback loop. In fact, we have an operating principle at Opendoor which says you've got to be 1% better every day, and that's exactly how these models work. The models are self-learning with every transaction that goes through.
I love that. 1% better every day should be everyone's motto, and using the tools to drive that. Vittorio, P&G is 185 years old, and yet you're doing digital transformation, emphasis on transformation. What are the principles that you've used to drive transformation, and what advice do you have for others?
I would say it boils down to 3 things. Number 1 is purpose, business purpose. So not digital for the sake of it, but ensuring that digital is embedded in the business strategy that is aimed at the business objectives. And the litmus test in the end is how fluently does the leadership speak about digital, as opposed to delegating or abdicating to a chief digital officer role, really owning the digital story at all levels. And that's the case for our chief brand officers, CEOs, and CFOs, and you name it. Second thing I would say is people and skills. And not only the specialized skills and roles that you need to succeed, data science, machine learning engineering, software engineering, but also the overall digital fluency of all employees and helping them understand how to work with machines. Because machines are great at providing you answers, but humans still need to figure out and focus on those answers, and also how to manage cognitive bias and other forms of bias. And so by upskilling and training, last but not least, the third part is still technology and a modern cloud-native architecture that allows you to have the modularity of enterprise platforms and building digital products that are close to where consumers and customers are, close to the business lines. So it boils down to these three things.
I love that. It's such a principled approach and so ornate. Vinod, how have you gotten buy-in from employees if you've undergone your own digital transformation probably multiple times?
Yeah.
How has that worked?
So I would say, Alisa, first and foremost, the culture drives transformation.
Yeah.
So I would say we are fortunate and lucky to have the kind of sponsorship from all the way from our Walmart CEO, Doug McMillan, and Sam's Club CEO, Kath McLeod, my boss. And then when you have that, the sponsorship from the CEO, and when we come into a trade meeting on Monday, we talk about the metrics, what the net promoter score metrics is. So it's sort of, the fabric of the organization is all about data and using data to drive the transformation. And then my job becomes easier, right? So you double click from what the NPS scores is and those member journeys and look at where do I need to improve to drive that, additional improvements along the way. So I would say, so that's key for any organization to drive digital transformation. So there's an organizational dimension and there's a technology dimension. So the technology dimension is all about finding the right things, whether are we using the right level of experimentation in the business, are we willing to fail, learn from our mistakes, bringing the analytics in, finding the right cloud partner, and building those data-based models and using data to drive decisions. So when you marry the organizational, the dimension with the technology dimension, I think and over a period of time, it just becomes second nature to the organization to drive transformation.
I love it. Muscle memory. Lightning round. Quick answers. Raji, I'll start with you. What prediction do you have for the future? Then Vittorio, I'll go to you.
Yeah.
Raji?
I think in today's world, it's pretty obvious. AI is here to disrupt in a very, very big way. And companies that embrace AI will really thrive and succeed, and the others will become very quickly irrelevant.
Amazing. Thank you. Vittorio, lightning.
Continue to leverage data, AI, and cloud-native solution at scale. Because what matters is you go beyond the POC, the single MVP, but you go at scale and make it available to the larger organization.
Outstanding. Vinod, last word.
People drive change, not technology. So let's make AI, I think, is the buzzword. It's more than a buzzword. So get the people behind generative AI, and we can do magic.
Amazing. Thank you very much, panelists. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
Great.